After brought in Desmond Ritter, curious about what your expectations are for a young quarterback that showed some promise last year.
Yeah, I mean, it's a guy who kind of like similar to Aiden, got thrown into the fire early on, played a lot his second year in the league, then gets traded to the Cardinals, watching from afar. Obviously dealing with the injury with Aiden. Just a great opportunity for him to come in, learn our system, and get him up to speed.
Obviously, you're winning games. That's the primary goal and objective here. But is there any curiosity about what could Desmond Ritter potentially provide, not just this year, but down the road?
I'll be honest, I got my hands full right now with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Worrying about the future is not really what I'm thinking about right now, to be honest. Is really getting him up to speed. Got in here. He's a bright-eyed kid, very smart, very sharp, fits in well with the room. I'm excited to see him at practice, see what he can do.
Coach, speaking of Mahomes and Reid, where does Patrick Mahomes stack up against the great quarterbacks you played as a player like Brady and Manning?
3. I mean, I'm sure by the end of it, he'll probably move up, but the two gentlemen you named obviously are Hall of Famers, and one is the greatest of all time. Just the amount of wins, victories, and how he did it. But, Patrick, and just watching him from afar, then seeing him up close and personal, game plan against him is the same, countless and sleepless nights that you had as a player. And it's tough because he's a tremendous talent, very competitive. And to be honest, even with what's going on in the season with interceptions and all that, he's still playing his best ball. I mean, there's some stuff that he does that it's just not accounted for. I mean, I think credit to them and Andy Reid of how they have adjusted to different personnel groupings, injuries just like us, and they're finding ways to win.
When you look at this offense, obviously you're not going to give away strategy, but what do you need to do to get this thing humming and going?
Our offense?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'll be honest, it's penalties and turnovers. Let's just start there. Penalties, turnovers, and execution, right? It's detailed work. It's easy, right? You go zone right, everybody needs to go to right. We can't have guys going different directions, right? We got to be clean on that part. Each and every week, I think, you go in the game and you feel confident about what the staff is able to do. And I have felt that. And I think at the end of the day, we have to execute as players. We have to call the right plays at the right time. And when all that's going on, if the play breaks down, it's up to the guys on the field to make it right. And that's what this game always comes down to, is players and coaches putting them in positions to make plays.
Coach, on that right side, DJ Glaze has gone up against a couple of really elite edge rushers, but now Jackson Powers-Johnson gets to go up against his, first elite interior lineman in Chris Jones. How do you ramp him up for something like that?
We're not going to leave him on the island. I'll tell you that. It'll be Jackson and the group, Jackson and 5, the other guys. But, no, we cannot leave a rookie offensive lineman on Chris Jones. That's not going to happen. Didn't do it last year. Don't plan on doing it this year. He's going against, obviously, a premier, probably future Hall of Famer at defensive tackle. And to do that to a rookie, we're not in that business. But excited to see it, though, because he's on battle. It's going to be a slugfest in there.
Last week about Jordan Meredith, being ready to play, and he obviously had a good game.
Yeah.
Any surprise that he played that well and was ready to step in the way he did?
No, I thought last year when he kind of filled in different roles for us, he always kind of you don't really talk about him, which is a good thing, right? Because that's not penalties, not making mistakes. But what I love about him is his physicality. He's a blue-collar guy. He's scrappy. He's grimy. You just got to have one of those guys that just want to get dirty and mix it up. But more importantly, he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. And when you go in there and you go through 2 games down with him in there and you're like, you don't mention Jordan's name. And I think that's really a credit to him and the staff, just getting him ready to go, and he's prepared, and he's been in this situation now for 2 years, and he's stepped up.
Chiefs you spoke traded for DeAndre Hopkins today. I know obviously he's been in the league for a long time. He's a known commodity, but we haven't seen him in that offense. How do you kind of prepare for a player like that?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of got to look at it in 2 folds, right? You know they're going to have some plays for him, get in there and learn the playbook. But to be honest, no disrespect to Hop, this offense still goes through 87 and Worthy now down the field vertically. So I'm sure that Andy, just as he's done in years past when he's made trades for certain players, he finds that role, those 6 or whatever many plays that he has for that gentleman. You're talking about a proven vet that's been in multiple systems. It's not going to take him a long time to learn it, but just to get him up to speed, not quite sure what we're going to get from there, but we know who the primary focus is.
How close is it for Jacoby Myers to return?
He'll practice today.
Game planning for Kansas City. This is the 2nd year in a row. You faced them twice in about a month span. How does that impact your preparation?
Well, it's good. It's always better the second game. The first game, you're looking at it, you're looking at a team that's 6-0 and on a 12-game winning streak. And with all that being said, they're playing really good on defense, really good on special teams. The best part about it, we're very familiar with this team, right? Everything we do in the offseason and how we game plan, the staff we put together, the roster we put together is beat the Chiefs. I mean, they're the cream of the crop. So we've been studying the entire offseason, and obviously, the season goes on, injuries, both teams. Now you see the style of play and what they're doing. I mean, obviously they've had some tremendous hits at running back, looking at Pacheco, that's a big hit for him. But they still find a way to run the ball, and they do it very creative with either wide receivers or tight ends or whatever they come up with the ways to do it. So it's always a challenge. It's always fun to look forward to playing Andy Reid.
They also play good defense, and it feels like that's always been not undervalued, but just underappreciated on the Kansas City Chiefs' part, that they actually do play really good defense. Patrick Mahomes draws a lot of attention. What are your thoughts on how they've been able to kind of keep that going?
Ultimate, and I always say, and obviously, played for him, but Steve Spagnuolo, what he's able to do, the pressure, this year you see they're kind of morphing into something different. They got different personnel groupings, playing not as blitz happy, but they're still aggressive, still stouted linebackers. They do a good job with their staff, just getting their players to do exactly what they're asked to do. And then when the plays are there to be made, they make them. And especially in critical moments in the game. Red zone, 2-minute third down, that's probably when they're at their best. That staff is very good, and obviously that's why they've now won back-to-back Super Bowls.
Last year, going into the game on Christmas, you said that we're tired of losing. We're tired of losing to those dudes. Now you have them at the house. What's the message this week in the locker room?
We're tired of losing the last 3 weeks. We'll start there, right? We need to get this taste out of our mouth. We've had opportunities to win those games, and we let them slip away for one reason or another. And now we got a divisional foe that we know very well. That's all we've done is study. Our team has talked about it. We're fired up. We're excited. It has nothing to do with last year's game. That team is not even here this year. And I think for us, just to go out there and just compete at a high level. And what I asked our team to do is just for 4 quarters, man, strain. And I thought last week we did a really good job. When adversity hit, there was no flinching, no blinking. We still had opportunity late in the game to come back and win. And now this game, we got to limit the turnovers, right? It has to be 0. Just has to be. And we got to do a good job with penalties and then obviously doing our job.
Obviously, like you said, it's a different team as opposed to last season, but still the Raiders are the last team to beat this team. And so there's this revenge factor kind of surrounding the game. Do you expect them to come out with a little extra intensity because of that? And if that's the case, what do you do to have your guys match it?
No, I expect their best. You see it each and every week against the teams they go against. Started with the Baltimore and the Kansas and Cincinnati, and then see them in our division and how they're beating teams in our own division. I don't think they need to be fired up. They know what time it is. We know what time it is. It's time to strap it up and play, and we need to play. And we know they're coming with their best because they're the best team in football for the last 2 years, really the last 7, 8 years, because they've been very competitive and put themselves in position each and every year to win championships.
To his credit, Gardner said after the game it wasn't fair to his teammates when he's got 4 turnovers. I'm curious, how do you address that with a quarterback without it getting in their head where they play scared? It's a fine line.
I'll be honest, be blunt, it's sensitive. What do you say? Like, we got to take care of the ball, though. But a couple of those opportunities, except for the sack fumble, we could just throw the ball away, right? Just play another down, allow us to punt, whatever it may be. And Gardner understands. He's been in the league. When you look at his career, he hasn't had a year like he's having now prior, so it is kind of unexpected for all of us. I know to him as well. And I think no different we do each and every week. We talk about turnovers. We talk about protecting the football. It always has to be the Raiders' ball. And I think as Gardner goes through this week, and our staff as well, it's constantly reminding everybody that we need to do a good job of taking care of the football, because if we allow ourselves to lose a turnover battle this week, it'll go opposite for the Raiders.
Antonio, kind of crossing sports here a little bit, but you being an LA guy with Fernando Valenzuela, the Dodger pitcher, passing away last night. Any thoughts and growing up in Fernando Mania and everything that you saw?
Yeah, no, in the 80s they were rolling, kind of like I always talked about with the Raiders, man. And I grew up a Raider, Dodger, Laker, and just, seeing that happen and not understanding why. Condolences to his family and Dodger Nation. But, obviously what he was able to do, inner city guy, or, I believe an immigrant, correct? Right? And just taking over the league by storm, rookie of the year, I believe, and just breaking records left and right. It was a different swag about him. He didn't look like all the other pitchers at the time. He looked totally different, and obviously he did it his way.
Good.
Cool. Thank you, guys.
Thanks,